evacuate na mo sa mga, evacuate na mo sa mga.
Angin. Matindi ano? Yeah. Kasi po, balat yung kahoy talaga.
Kasi makapunta kong emergency. Pwede pa apa tabang ni Diri Dapita Villa Azalea Kutkut Liluan, please. Please guys, tabangin.
Wala, lubog lahat yung sasakyan. Tatabunan lahat ng ano, ng putik, lupa, bato. Oh. Wala. Ewan ko paano to. Walang pag-aasa to. Wala, lubog lahat to. Kaya hindi na mahanap yung iba. Yung iba nakabakon talaga sa loob ng lupa. Di bahay oh, wala na. Pagod tamahin mo ani oy. Para pwedeng paita. Oh, wala. Lubog lahat.
A storm threatening the Philippines' largest island has been upgraded to super typhoon status, with one region already experiencing life-threatening conditions. Typhoon Fenghuang is expected to bring strong winds of up to 185 km/h, 155 miles per hour, and heavy rain to several areas on Sunday, according to the country's meteorological agency, Pagasa. The eastern Bicol region became the first region of the Philippines to be directly hit by the storm on Sunday morning, while Luzon, the country's main population center, is expected to be affected on Sunday night. Typhoon Fenghuang, known locally as Yuan, comes just days after a previous storm, Kalmiji, left a trail of destruction and nearly 200 deaths. Some schools have canceled classes on Monday or moved them online, while Philippine Airlines has canceled several local flights ahead of its arrival. Fenghuang is expected to weaken rapidly after making landfall, but is likely to remain a typhoon as it moves over Luzon. The eastern Philippines has begun experiencing heavy rains and strong winds, a Pagasa official said in a briefing on Saturday evening. While most of the country is expected to be affected, there are particular concerns about areas that could be directly affected, including Catanduanes, an island east of the Bicol region, where extreme conditions were reported on Sunday morning. Residents there, as well as in other low-lying and coastal areas, were urged to move to higher ground on Sunday morning. In Aurora County, in eastern Luzon, we spoke with Hagano, who works at one of the dozen hotels lining the beach in Cebu. He said local police had visited repeatedly in recent days to ensure all guests were evacuated ahead of the storm. All hotels were empty on Sunday morning as residents prepared for the typhoon's arrival, which was expected to arrive around midnight. As the tide rose sharply, Hagonoy said he would stay as long as possible to guard the property before riding his motorcycle home to safety. Staff had secured the gates and roped off the windows to try to prevent the glass from shattering in the wind. Typhoon Kaumaji has left a trail of destruction across Southeast Asia, killing hundreds in the Philippines and at least 5 in Vietnam, flattening homes, uprooting trees, and cutting off power for millions, but there may be more suffering to come. Rescue operations were halted and mass evacuations began on Saturday as another storm, Typhoon Fenghuang, approached the Philippines days after Kaumaji killed at least 204 people. Some 71 of the fatalities were in Cebu province, still recovering from a 6.9 magnitude earthquake that struck 2 months ago and killed dozens. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has declared a national calamity.
Grabe yung taon guys na di ka kuan diri baha di ka na sa bukid nga tubig guys so yung taon diri.
Typhoon Kaumaji wreaked havoc in the region, making landfall on Tuesday as a Category 1 level storm. It also brought unusually heavy rainfall. In the 24 hours before landfall, Cebu received more than 7 inches of rain, the equivalent of about a month and a half of November. Heavy rains have caused rivers to overflow, washing away entire neighborhoods and triggering landslides. Strong winds have uprooted trees and power lines, flattening homes. However, Kaumaji has also destroyed the province's flood control infrastructure, supposedly intended to protect residents from such disasters. This has re-examined the multi-billion-dollar corruption scandal involving substandard public works projects that has been a hot topic for Filipinos for months. Civil defense officials have told local media that search and rescue operations are still ongoing. However, there are concerns that the death toll and damage from the flooding and anger at the government for its alleged contribution to the toll will continue to rise as the Philippines, regularly battered by typhoons and on the front lines of the extreme impacts of climate change, is in the path of another super typhoon this weekend. Authorities warned that Fenghuang, which is expected to strengthen into a super typhoon before making landfall, could blanket almost the entire country. Its radius is so wide that it could cover almost the entire Philippines, a government meteorologist said. Officials have urged residents in coastal and low-lying areas to seek safety, fearing further flooding and landslides following last week's damage. Emergency shelters are being set up across the country as the country braces for one of the strongest storms of the season.
La, usa to nakuha ni Joseph? Nara ang ref. Wala, uy, ang sa appliance ni Hazel. Wala, ang kuwan sa motor. Wala, mga kahoy nanguan.
In the Philippines, grief and exhaustion have gripped Cebu province following the devastating and deadly aftermath of Typhoon Kalmeji. Families gathered around rows of white coffins, mourning loved ones lost in the floods and landslides. Jimmy Abateo, who lost his wife and 9 relatives, was overcome with guilt as he touched his wife's coffin. "I told my family to swim, be brave, and keep swimming," he said, sobbing. "They didn't hear what I said because I'll never see them again."
Katong, alam ang grocery. Dong, sa grocery na, dong. Dong, sa grocery na, dong. Mantika. Wala. O, nangaano, druti. Luoy ko, ayo. Daghan mga mantika, mga grocery na pa si kuya. Duha nakabuok ang ref. Kana, duha nakabuok iyang ref. Gikan daw sa SM kay naapay tag, mga miniso, mga school supplies.
In Vietnam, state media reported 5 deaths, 3 in Dak Lak province and 2 in Gia Lai, and 3 people missing in Quang Ngai City. The storm destroyed or damaged nearly 2,600 homes and cut power to more than 1.6 million households. In Quai Nan, residents emerged to find metal roofs and furniture strewn across the streets, while shopkeepers hung out soaked goods to dry. Authorities said more than 537,000 Vietnamese had been evacuated before the storm hit, with Kalmeji dumping up to 600 millimeters, 24 inches of rain, before weakening to a tropical storm and moving toward Cambodia. The Philippines and Vietnam, two of the world's most disaster-prone countries, face typhoons almost every year. However, scientists warn that climate change is causing stronger and more frequent storms. Kristen Corbosiero, a professor of atmospheric science at the University of Albany, said Kalmeji is already the 4th strongest typhoon of the season. The warm water that fuels these storms is present almost year-round, she said, warning that rising ocean temperatures are increasing their destructive power.
Nadaghan kayo mga bag. Ang mga bag ruti kay kuan. Ang mga bag ruti kay napay mga sud. Ayo pagtamag sa kuan ha. Nag-video na ko ane Rosie baby. Ako lang isend on niya. Oh, dagang kayo mga nakuha, oh. Hala, ang rep. Asa man na? Asa man ka nakakuha na? Ay, pag jacket-jacket? Hala, uy, ang National Bookstore kay daghan man dire mga school supplies. Hala, napay rep. Padong, ang rep.